Yo guys, what is up? Welcome back to some more F1 2020 My Team Career Mode. Today we are here for round 9 of the season for the Canadian Grand Prix. If you guys missed the last episode guys at Azerbaijan, a race in which I had to use my broken wheel, my old broken wheel, to get through qualifying and practice, then go check it out guys. I'll leave a link up in the top right hand corner of your screen. But today we are here at Canada, one of my favourite tracks on the entire calendar, and it's going to be a really exciting episode because I feel like myself and Ricardo are really starting to gel together now as a team. Ricardo driving really well lately in the last couple of races, and I believe he's on a bit of a streak of podiums, which is great. So as a team we're really starting to get close to our goals and start to really do well. So I'm hoping for more of the same here today. But guys, if you're excited for today's episode, then drop me a like and subscribe for more F1 2020 content daily on the channel. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Here we go then, once again another race weekend, and first of all looking at the weather forecast as always. You can see on screen no rain expected, which is great. We also have no upgrades on the car this weekend, and to be fair, no real changes except for Renault taking a bit of a step forward there. Besides that, nobody bringing any upgrades to the Canadian Grand Prix, and of course we are working on some, but they're not performance related, they're all on the durability side of things, and hopefully both of these upgrades will arrive at the end of today's episode, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. But with that said, we are going to move into practice and try and see if we can add to our 900 plus R&D points and hopefully purchase a few more durability upgrades at the end of today's episode, because I want to try and make sure we can get to the end of the season on our current component allocation and not have to take any grid penalties. Therefore, we're going to have to work on especially the energy store along with the MGUK and the ICE. So quite a few things to work on. Hopefully we'll try and achieve that over the next couple of races. But first of all, practice. Now, the car felt great. We're really competitive around here. We seem to have great pace. Ricardo, to be fair, only P11, but on the hard compound tyres. And to be fair, only 6/10 off a Mercedes on the hard compound tyres is pretty impressive. We go quickest of all. We score once again pretty much 1,000 R&D points, and also we do some pretty good progress in that sense. 1,700 points altogether, and hopefully we'll score a few more by the end of qualifying and the race. So we should be looking pretty good at the end of today's episode for some more upgrades as we then jump into qualifying, more specifically Q1 here today at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and hopefully we can try and use that pace from practice and convert it into qualifying pace, which has often been my issue this season. The AI, I've made no secret about it, the AI are very quick over one lap in this game, as it has been the case for the last couple of F1 games, and I tend to do most of my work on Sundays, so for us it's all about damage limitation and trying to do a good job on Saturday. Now, you can see here currently on my first time lap in Q1, just making sure we try and get a nice exit out of the hairpin, because we want to make sure we hit a good speed trap down the back straight. We then throw the car into the final chicane and we brush the wall pretty much on the exit as we keep the car to the right hand side, and then we're going to set a 1 minute 6.3 and go P7 in the Q1, which is a pretty decent lap time, pretty conservative, relatively safe, but still good pace nonetheless. And we go through in P9, Ricardo second quickest, Albon P1, and some of those lap times were glitched, so don't read into it too much. But with that said, we move comfortably into Q2. And speaking of Q2, this was my best lap of Q2, so let's go on board for a full lap here of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. First of all, turns 1 and 2, really important to sacrifice the first corner a little bit to try and open up turn 2 to get that exit as we make our way down towards turns 3 and 4. A right-left chicane combo, and then trying to brush the wall on the exit as we go flat through 5 and end sector 1 to start sector 2, left and right 6 and 7 to kick things off. Important to use a lot of inside curve on the left to open up the right-hander and try and get that traction as best as possible, which is probably the AI's strongest point around this circuit. We then go for another right-left chicane, this time using a lot of the curb on both of them actually, as we get on the gas once again on the exit, making our way down towards the hairpin, down to first gear, spot the 100-meter board, make sure you clip the inside curb for a bit of extra rotation, and then really important here, like I said before, to get that traction out the corner to really give yourself the best possible straight line speed on this huge back straight, as we pretty much brush 345 kilometers an hour as we then hit the brakes for the final chicane, throwing the car in, both curbs, brushing the wall of champions, and then keeping the car nice and tight to the right hand side for the run to the line, and we set 1 minute 5.8 and go P1 and quickest of all in Q2. Now, to be fair, that lap was still pretty much about half a second quicker than my Q1 lap, and it felt really good. Having said that, Lando goes quickest in Q2 with, I believe, a glitch lap time in the McLaren. Ricardo P7, and Ricardo and Lewis Hamilton on the medium tyres, electing to go for a bit more conservative of a strategy for the race, so that's going to be interesting. We've gone for the soft tyres, hopefully that works out for us, but you compare the lap times to Q1, the 1 minute 5.4, from Alex Albon. He's half a second slower in Q2, so that goes to show how effective the lap time glitch is in this game. As with that said, that's going to be it for Q2, and we're now going to move into Q3. And first of all, our first time lap in the session, we had 2 fresh sets of soft tyres remaining, so our first lap, to be fair, was pretty decent, you know, on the limit, and I maximised the lap quite well. We set a 1 minute 5.7, so we got a tenth quicker than our Q2 lap for P3 at the moment. Eventually, though, we'll try our final lap of Q3, and this was my best lap of the weekend and my best lap of the session. So let's see what it was like, and will it be enough to get pole here today? We're about to find out. Let's go for a full lap of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. And there we go, across the line, and that is going to be it for qualifying. The question is, where do we finish? We finished P3, which is okay, but it definitely wasn't ideal. I think we had a bit more time in the car. You guys saw the little mistake halfway through the lap. We had a bit of a moment, and we threw away pretty much a tenth and a half. So I do believe I could have out-qualified Ricciardo and grabbed myself a front row, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. Hamilton, pole position, quickest of everybody, 1 minute 5.3, which is insane pace. But having said that, I'm going to take it. Both cars in the top 3. That's exactly what we want. And after qualifying, you can see Hamilton picks up a couple of points on the rivalry breakdown, and he's just 1 point behind me now as we head into the race. So things are getting very spicy indeed. Also, in terms of acclaim, some very small gains all round. But guys, that is going to be it for qualifying here today at Canada. We're now going to move into the race of round 9 of the season for the Canadian Grand Prix.
We're back once again beside the St. Lawrence River here in Montreal for the Canadian Grand Prix. The event first moved to a variant of this track back in 1978. It was won by none other than Gilles Villeneuve, the first Canadian to ever win his home race, and in whose honour the circuit would be renamed. With top speeds of around 210 miles per hour heading into the overtaking opportunity of turn 13, the 2.7 miles of the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve are some of the quickest on the Formula One calendar. There are 14 corners in total, with 60% of the lap taken at full throttle, and average lap speeds clock in at about 130 miles per hour. With the race minutes away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position, and P2 goes to Daniel Ricciardo, a strong showing from the Australian. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Martinez, Leclerc, Alexander Albon, and Bottas, Verstappen, Ocon, Norris, and Sergio Perez, Gasly, Stroll, Daniel Kvyat, and Magnussen, Sainz, Vettel, Jack Aitken, and George Russell, De Vries, Grosjean, Latifi, and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today?
Okay guys, so here we are. It's time for the Canadian Grand Prix, starting from P3 on the grid. Ricciardo alongside us in P2, Hamilton out front. Worth noting, both of the cars ahead of us will be starting on medium tyres, whereas we're going to be starting on the soft compound tyres. So a bit of a strategy offset in this race. I'm hoping that the soft tyres don't overheat. That's my big concern. And in terms of our strategy, we're going to go soft, medium, soft, possibly soft, medium, medium. It depends how the tyres hold up and how the temperatures go. If we really struggle in the first stint, then I'm just going to go for 2 medium tyre stints to keep it safe and keep things nice and consistent over the rest of the race. We look at the fuel. I'm running just slightly under, so 0.2 negative, just a little bit on the lighter side to try and take a little bit of stress off the soft tyres, and no rain expected here today on the weather forecast. So with that said, I'm looking forward to it. We've been on a great run of form so far. We lead the championship, so let's hope we can try and retain that lead leaving the race here today. So without further ado, let's get into it for the Canadian Grand Prix, and let's see if we can try and pick up the win. Right, here we go then. Let's see what kind of start we get. Going to build the revs up to the sweet spot as the lights are on. And it's lights out and away we go. It's a poor start from Hamilton. We don't get a particularly great one. We're going to get squeezed here, so I've got to be careful into turn one. And the Red Bull goes round. We just about avoid the incident there. And Albon or Verstappen, I'm not sure who it was, but going for a half spin, somehow holding on to their position. But wow, that was close. We had to take to the grass there to take evasive action. Looks like both of the Red Bulls, whichever one it was, has managed to keep going. Crucially though, Ricciardo into the lead of the race, which is best case scenario for us in terms of, you know, not having Hamilton pull away out front. So let's see if we can try and catch up to Lewis here on these soft tyres. Looking at the engine wear, you can see we are running with a bit of a worn ICE, so that's going to be a bit of a factor in this race. Nonetheless, let's try and push on here and catch up after Lewis Hamilton and see if we can use these soft tyres to our advantage in this race early on. But so far, so good. We avoid the early scare. We've now got to try and settle into this race and make some progress. It looks like Albon's dropping back actually. Seems like he may have wing damage. So it was definitely Albon who probably went for the spin. End of lap 2. As we brush the wall of champions there, we just about get away with some wing damage. Ricciardo setting the pace.
DRS is being enabled this lap. We can use DRS when you are within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone.
We was a tenth quicker than Ricciardo on that lap, and we're now within DRS range of Lewis Hamilton. Albon dropping back, and also Verstappen not able to keep up either way, so we're looking good here. It's just about now seeing if these soft tyres can hold on long enough that I can try and maybe make a move and challenge Hamilton here. I'm going to try and use this lap to close up to him a little bit and maybe challenge him on the next one, or even on the back straight. Maybe we can do it this lap. Okay, here we go. Hamilton struggling for a bit of traction through there. Not as close as I would like, but still close enough that we can maybe just, you know, spoil Hamilton's party a little bit here. Looks like we're not going to be close enough into the final chicane. But having said that, coming out of the final chicane, maybe we can challenge into turn 1. Come on, let's see if we can get that. We've run out of DRS though, that's going to hurt us quite badly. That's a shame. We do set a new fastest lap, but still not quite able to get past Lewis. We need to get past it because this is also going to help Ricciardo pull away as the race leader. So let's see if we can.
We're accumulating some wear on the MGUK. To manage this, we'll need to lower our ERS deployment mode.
Yeah, I know about that, Jeff. Either way, let's see if we can put some pressure on Lewis this lap, maybe try and get past him this time. Oh, struggling for some rear traction there. That might have just ruined my chances. Let's see, can we get close enough here? Not quite. We're closing in at a rapid rate of knots, but I'm actually going to hang back here and tactically play this one. So we're going to set up the exit out of the chicane. And here we go. We've got the run this time. Let's go. Let's get past Lewis and take P2. And there we go. Job done. P2 in the Canadian Grand Prix on lap 5. So the soft tyre still hanging on at the minute, which is good for strategy. Let's see if we can try and stay ahead now. Maybe even, you know, hold up Lewis a little bit to give Ricciardo a chance to open up even more of a gap. Because I feel like Ricciardo's a favourite on this race to win it. So things are going pretty well at the minute. Pace is very consistent. I'm not pushing too hard. I'm trying to make sure I get good life out of these tyres.
Approaching the pit window, you'll be on the mediums.
So I'm definitely driving very smooth, not overdriving the car. Also trying to get my fuel on target for the later stints in the race when we might need it to attack Ricciardo possibly. So I'm just cruising at the minute. We're keeping Lewis at that half a second to 0.8 of a second advantage. And he's nowhere near close enough to make any kind of move on us at the minute. So we're doing a good job of just keeping him there. The soft tyres are still hanging in there. I'm just taking it very easy, especially on the rears, because those are the tyres that really go around here. Meanwhile, Ricciardo's gradually building a bit of a lead out front, which is good. So this is working okay.
The store is getting worn, reducing our overall capacity. The more charge you hold, the faster that capacity will drop.
Yeah, I know all about that, Jeff. Don't worry, mate. We are pushing it a little bit with this race with the worn engine. From this race on, this will be the last race with this engine. After this, we're going to be using this engine just for practice sessions only. So I wanted to get through this race if possible, which is good. So we're looking okay for that. Meanwhile, let's just focus back on the action here. We're going to pit on lap 10, I believe. So let's try and have a strong final couple of laps here as we get a bit loose through the chicane there. Right, we're going to pit this lap then. We've got a pretty good lap actually in the bank. And the soft tyres hanging in there, so the in lap was actually quite strong. Here we go though. Getting it all slowed down to the 80, which we do. And we're now going to box for a set of medium tyres. I'm a little bit concerned Verstappen may have undercut us because he picked 2 laps ago and was only about 3 seconds behind me. So it's going to be close with Max, I feel. But hopefully we should be okay. The pace was okay. We was matching Ricciardo. So it was some strong in-laps from us. So I don't think we should be too bad. But here we go then. Let's see.
Only 1 stop to go. 1 stop left in this strategy.
There we go. We're comfortably ahead of Max. To be fair, Max actually lost some time. So I wonder if he got caught in traffic maybe. Because he's actually 4.35 seconds behind us now. So he's even further behind than before. So he must have got caught up in some traffic. So we rejoined back in P3. Fresh mediums. Now we've got to push because this is our chance to open up a gap to Lewis and undercut Ricciardo at the same time before those guys pit for their 2-stop strategy as well. So let's push. Let's see what kind of pace we have. Well, to be fair, I just realised Ricciardo's P2. Oh my goodness me. I just saw that. Never mind. Ricciardo's out of the race. Damn, that is so annoying. I thought I was tripping for a second. I thought some kind of glitch, but no, Ricciardo is out of the Canadian Grand Prix from the lead of the race. That is a big hammer blow for the championship, especially for Ricciardo's chances already in round number 9, I believe. That is going to hurt Ricciardo massively this season. So it's now me versus Lewis here for the race win. So let's just push and try and set a couple of strong laps and get that gap down a little bit to the Mercedes driver. Okay, Hamilton pits. Going on to a set of soft compound tyres, so an aggressive second stint from Lewis, it looks like. Meanwhile, we're on a good lap. We gained over a second on this lap alone, so we should be ahead of Lewis, hopefully. But we are going to have Lewis on the back of us on soft tyres, putting some pressure on. So this could be a defensive stint. Let's see what kind of pace we have on these. Hamilton rejoins 1.8 behind, so out of the DRS range for now. Let's try and keep it there as long as possible. Oof, getting loose there. Hamilton already within DRS range here. This is going to get very complicated. I've just had a look. I thought I had a fresh set of soft tyres remaining, but I don't. So we're going to have to use a used set if we use soft tyres in the final stint. I do have a fresh set of mediums, having said that. So I'm going to see what happens and see how this stint goes. If I can stay ahead of Lewis, I might go mediums again. Hamilton fast lap of the race, as expected. At the minute, we're doing okay. We're keeping a good gap in the crucial DRS zones, which is all we need. Oh my goodness me, that was a bit close. Luckily, Hamilton's not quite close enough to capitalise on that mistake. Again, we're keeping a good gap to Lewis, and in all the crucial areas, we're getting good traction and keeping a gap. And to be fair, our straight line speed is pretty strong, so we're able to keep ahead of the works Mercedes. Oh.
Safety car, no overtaking, reduce your pace.
Interesting.
Number positive as we form up.
Could we box for mediums? I think we could. I'm going to go for it.
Pitting this lap then, come into the pits at the end of this lap.
What? Speeding in the pit lane? Surely not. I didn't speed, did I? I couldn't have sped. Surely not. Huh? Wow. Okay, that's throwing a spanner in the works. Right, okay, we're throwing that away.
Go, exit now. We're racing on the exit.
Oh, we just about get out ahead of Lewis. 3.1 second stop, but we're out ahead.
Pit strategy complete. See these tyres through to the end now.
Not as the shortest stint I would have liked, but nonetheless, we're done now. So no more pit stops. The 5 seconds will be added on at the end. So, pretty simply, we need to get a 5-second gap to Hamilton by the end of the race to win this race. Simple as that. I think it might have been 3 seconds. I think it's 5. So we're going to cover ourselves and see what we can do. I'm going to quickly double check to see what the gap is. So if I go to the race director, I think it was 5 seconds. Surely it was. Incidents, let's see. Yeah, 5-second time penalty. So we've got to try and get a 5-second gap to Lewis. So we'll try and do that. We're going to save up some fuel to be aggressive. We're going to use up the rest of this engine pretty much. ICE on 73%, and we're going to see just how quick we can go. I wonder if Bottas will pit. Let's see. Or will he be deployed as a roadblock to hold me up? Yeah, he's going to hold me up, it looks like. Interesting. So Mercedes, of course, going for the 2-on-1 strategy. And now that we've lost Ricciardo, they're going to try and gang up on us. So crucially, I need to get past Bottas ASAP on the restart. But when the engine's at full power, it is difficult to get by the first 2 laps. So this is going to be a crucial phase of the race. We need to pull away as much as we can. We're going to save up a lot of fuel because we're going to be running in rich mix pretty much the entire time, except for a couple of corners where I'll run lean to keep the engine temperatures down. Okay, it's time for the restart. Tyre temperatures looking pretty good. Going to see if I can get a bit more in there just at the last second. Slide the car around just to make sure we push the 90s. But here we go, this restart is going to be key. We need to be perfect. We've got enough fuel. So let's see if we can try and get past Bottas. He's gone. I want to try and stick with him here. So much grip on these tyres, of course, fresh tyres. Look at the speed. Look how we're gaining on Bottas here.
Okay, clear.
Could have gone for into turn 1. Maybe if I'd got a bit closer, then my exit through the final chicane wasn't perfect. Let's try and get by there as soon as possible and use Bottas actually to pull away from Lewis and use Mercedes' tactics against us. I can't quite get past at the minute. Bottas doing a good job. Of course, there's no DRS yet, which is making it a bit harder for me. I'm hoping this could be the lap though. We're closer this lap than the last one. We was half a second to 6/10 behind at this point. This time though we're a lot closer to the fin. If I can just get the drive off of here, which I do, this could be it. Come on, let's see if we can get this one done. That Mercedes looks very quick on the straight though. I'm barely making a scratch. So we're going to hang back. Try and maybe get him out of the chicane maybe. Down to turn 1. Can we get this one done? Come on. I just can't get close enough.
Okay, the stewards have now enabled DRS. DRS is now online.
Frustrating, but reality. You know, that Merc is still very quick on the straight, even though we've got the same engine. Obviously the works team have a few more tricks up their sleeve and a few more bits to be more competitive, so we've just got to hang back and wait for now. Alright, this is it now. This is going to be the one. Going to get a wider line through the hairpin to get better drive off the corner. This time, hopefully, with the DRS, we should be able to get the job done. All I want now is Bottas to not pit because it could hurt us. To the inside we go. Into the chicane, got to leave some room, and Bottas actually pits, and there we go. That's exactly what I didn't want. Bottas has done his job. Mercedes playing their tactics beautifully, and we've lost a lot of time there. All for nothing really, just wasted tyres, fuel and DRS, but now we've got the lead back. Let's see if we can open up a gap to Lewis here. See if we can get out of DRS range for a start. That would really help us out. We're pretty close. Gap is almost a second.
We pretty much burned off our excess fuel. We'll be back on target soon. Don't wait too long to turn the engine down.
New fastest lap gap now, just over a second or there or thereabouts. It's close. Hamilton responds with the fastest lap. Just when I thought I had the gap, it's gone back down to half a second. This is going to be so difficult. Hamilton just holding on to the DRS here. Only just, I'm trying to push. Once I drop him out of that 1 second window, it will become a lot easier. As we're now well into the final 10 laps of the race, we need to drop him out of DRS range so that we can start to pull away. If we don't do that, it's not going to happen. I think we may have a break. Hamilton wasn't gaining on me on that back straight as much as he usually does. I think we've got the break. This is it. Yes, we have, and he's not going to have DRS on the back straight either. The gap is starting to go up now, 1.7 seconds. We've now secured P3 as Verstappen is out of the 5 second window. I don't think it's going to happen because the AI always speed up in the last couple of laps to push for the fastest lap, but I'm still going to keep trying to see if I can get that gap as much as possible to Lewis. 2.6 now, we're doing it, we're pulling away here. We're halfway there.
5 laps of fuel remaining.
My only issue is now when Hamilton speeds up, if he speeds up, it should be happening very soon, but I've got to try and keep going. 2.8 now, Hamilton's really dropping off, which could be a sign that he's charging up his battery and saving fuel for a big push at the end, so we need to use this lap. Tyre wear just starting to kick in now. But we're still getting the gap to Lewis here. Pushing 4 seconds now. He still hasn't responded to my pace, which is good. I'm still waiting for it, but for now, we're going to keep going. I'm starting to use up a bit more of my ERS as well. Going into the very low now, below 40% hopefully. Gap is nearly there, 4.8. We're doing it. 2 laps to go. Hamilton's still yet to respond. I'm very surprised. I think we've got this. We're nearly there. Come on. There we go, 5 seconds. We've got it. Let's keep going. We can win this race now. Okay, here comes Lewis. He's pushing now. I'm not pulling away like I was on the back straight. So this last lap will be a Lewis Hamilton push lap for the fastest lap. So we've got to try and hold on to those extra 3/10 as best as we can. I'm struggling for tyre grip now though. Gap is just 5 seconds, 4.9. This is going to go down to the wire here. We need to really nail this final chicane. The problem is that I'm out of fuel. Uh-oh. This has to be perfect. Come on. Come on. To the line. Come on. To the line. Have we done enough? Have we done enough?
Great job. You've done everything we
Yes!
wanted today.
Yes! Get in. Woohoo!
So after a day of mixed fortunes up and down the field, we bring today's race to a close. So Anthony, what made the difference out there today?
It was a question of right place, right time today. We were looking at an entirely different race before the safety car came out, but they were able to take full advantage after the field had been bunched up.
Well, I'm thoroughly exhausted after the excitement of that race, but I'm sure it's nothing compared to our drivers here. They've worked hard to make it up there, and it's great to see them make their way out onto the podium.
Well guys, there we go. We've just managed to do it and we pick up the win here in Canada. We outscore Hamilton by 6 points as Lewis does pick up the fast lap of the Grand Prix. Verstappen rounds off the podium ahead of Alex Albon, who of course had that spin at turn 1 lap 1. Bottas P5. Ocon, Gasly making it a Renault 6-7 ahead of Norris, Kvyat and Sainz. No Ferrari in the top 10, which is very surprising. Leclerc P11 ahead of Lance Stroll, Giovinazzi Aitken, Vettel P15, De Vries, Magnussen, Russell, Grosjean, Latifi and Perez and Ricciardo out of the race here today. Unfortunately, our teammate did not make it to the finish. We move into the driver standings and we are 23 points clear of Lewis, 53 clear of Bottas, who overtakes Ricciardo for P3, and 58 clear of our teammate. And then there's another gap of about 27 points to Verstappen between Ricciardo and Max. We then move into the constructors and we are still in the lead by 18 points after that race. So not all doom and gloom. You know, things are not looking too bad. But guys, that is it for the race here at Canada. We're now going to move into the laptop.
Did you have the wrong fuel strategy today, or was it your management?
I think the management actually, and I don't think it was wrong. I think we got it pretty much spot on. I think we ran out or got really close as we ran across the line, but crucially we still kept the gap. So yeah, I don't think it was too much of a problem. I think we got there in the end.
What do you think made the difference between this weekend and last weekend?
I think generally this track kind of suited our car a bit more. I think this weekend, you know, we ran with a pretty old engine and we was able to still push it, which was great. So I think that's credit to the guys, you know, working on the reliability at the factory.
Well, thanks anyway.
And here we go then after the race. As you can see, we somehow don't outscore Hamilton in terms of the points, and that is due to the penalty, which is a real shame. So we are equal on points in the rivalry, 15 apiece, and you can see also some very small gains on the acclaim after that race here today, and also no gains on Ricciardo's side due to the DNF, of course, which is a real shame because Ricciardo's had some good form lately and a good run of podiums. But we do get a full payout of all of our sponsors, which is great, and also there are going to be a couple of damage deductions on Ricciardo's side, I believe, due to the DNF. So $90,000 is what we're going to take away, but still we're gaining money and we're now close once again to $20 million. Well, here we go then, back on the laptop, and we've got 10 days until the next race in France. So therefore, we are going to work on some upgrades. You can see on the left-hand side, we've got an energy store and ICE durability on the way, and we are going to throw some more on there. First of all, though, activities. Now, I want to try and work on the durability. That's going to be the key area, of course, for us. So we're going to get some durability equipment upgrade. We're also going to get some weight training for Daniel Ricciardo. And then the final day is going to be either a sport demonstration event or a sponsor advertisement. I'm thinking probably this one, to be honest. It gives us a small cash bonus and a bit of a boost to the acclaim. So we'll throw that on there as well. We then move over to the R&D tab. And we're already the quickest car, like I said before, so there's no need to work on performance just yet. We're going to focus our attention elsewhere and work on upgrades. So we've got a couple of different options here in terms of what we want to do. Now, having a look, I'm gonna probably go for an MGUH upgrade, because after the ICE, the MGUH is what wears out the most after that. So we're going to throw that on there as well. And we still have 1,100 points to spend. Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough. We can't quite purchase another upgrade, so we are going to just skip ahead now on the calendar and move ahead until we get some more R&D points, which will be on the 22nd. Well, never mind, we've actually paused the simulation on the 18th because the Energy Star upgrade, which was one I was really hoping that would arrive, has failed. So we are going to have to repurchase that and get that back on the car. It should still arrive in time for the French Grand Prix, so hopefully no issues there. But we've now lost half of the R&D points that we had, so I think now we're just going to skip ahead all the way up until the next race. Okay, so we're ready for the French Grand Prix. Good news, the ICE upgrade has arrived along with the Energy Store upgrade. So both of those are on the car, which is going to be very important because in this next race we are going to have to debut power unit number 2. Therefore, we're going to need these upgrades to work for us. And hopefully for the next race, the MGUH upgrade also arrives. And then in the next episode, with the total R&D points that we'll have, we should be able to purchase a turbo upgrade and MGUK upgrade. And with that, we should be looking a lot better in terms of durability heading into the second half of the season. But guys, that is going to be it from me here today for this episode of the My Team Career Mode. The next race will be at Paul Ricard. If you guys are excited for that one and enjoyed this episode, then drop a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more F1 content with notifications turned on, of course. And also check out the 2 videos on your screen right now if you haven't seen them already. But guys, that is it from me here today, and I'll see you all next time for the French Grand Prix. But until then, take care.